Hey Eagles fans, I'm Thomas Mott. Welcome into the Eagles Report, and today, let's take a look at 3 moves the Eagles cannot make this offseason regarding trades, free agency, re-signing their own players, and more. Before we start though, we're going to do an Eagles mailbag video later this week, meaning we've never done this before. Scroll down in the comment section below of this video, use the hashtag Eagles followed by your question, and I will answer it on a mailbag video coming up in just a couple of days. That way, I can interact with you, and we can discuss everything happening with the Philadelphia Eagles. So again, mailbag video coming up later this week. Go down into the comments, use the hashtag Eagles, ask a question, leave the comment, and I'll most likely answer it in a video later this week. Without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right in. All right, so the first thing the Eagles must not do, and this one might be pretty obvious to some, not to others, is re-sign Nelson Agholor. Agholor is going to be an unrestricted free agent this year, and many people inside the organization are going to want Nelson Agholor to stay. Let me say that again. People inside the organization might want Nelson Agholor to stay. Now, we in the outside of the organization totally understand that Nelson Agholor has not been a great wide receiver for us for a very long time. He was awful early on, couldn't catch a single pass, got better, but still, over the course of the past 2 or 3 years, has proven to really not be more than a third option on a good football team with good wide receivers. He's a third or a fourth option overall. He was just elevated because the Eagles were that bad at wide receiver this year. 3 touchdowns, 39 catches this year for Nelson Agholor. Battled injuries all year long. He's not going to be worth the discount that he would most likely give to Philadelphia as a hometown or home team discount because he's played there for so long. I know he went, obviously, on the West Coast to college, but he obviously still is a guy, that the Eagles cannot go ahead and re-sign because, again, Carson Wentz likes him. If you watched the Amazon series All or Nothing, you probably saw that he's a big fan in terms of people inside the locker room, but he's not a guy that you want the Eagles to re-sign because we can get a lot better options in free agency. Again, on a very good football team with good wide receivers, Nelly's the third or fourth best option. He's not even the 1 or 2 best option, yet that's what he's had to do for Philadelphia over the next couple of years. Instead, they should go out and sign a wide receiver in free agency and draft a wide receiver as well to replace him. But you can go to free agency, spend a little bit more money, and get a Robbie Anderson or a Brashad Perryman or Emmanuel Sanders. Like, you can get better overall receivers with a better overall track record. Some younger, like Robbie Anderson, who you can come in and provide a lot more than what Nelson Agholor has done over the past couple of years. Last year alone, the drop in the Atlanta game, followed by a late drop in a game, I forget which one it was, later in the year, I think the Dolphins game, killed us. Like, those are games that if you win, the Eagles have a better overall playoff seeding and they have better momentum going forward into the next week. Nelson Agholor, I appreciate the work that he has put in. He's been a great character guy outside the locker room, great inside the inner city of Philadelphia, but he's not someone the Philadelphia Eagles need to go ahead and re-sign. The first of 3 things the Eagles must not do this offseason is re-sign Nelson Agholor. I don't care how cheap he wants to give you in terms of a discount for a contract. They've got to go out and get a new wide receiver and to at least replace him. Anderson, Perryman, Sanders, the list goes on and on. Go and get somebody else. Before we go to number 2, you guys want to keep Nelson Agholor? If you don't want to keep Nelson Agholor, thumbs up this video because we got to get as many thumbs ups as possible. That way I know you guys agree with me that we should not be keeping Nelson Agholor. Number 2, here's a controversial one, and a lot of you guys are not going to like this. I don't think they should re-sign Jason Peters. 3 things they must not do. They must not re-sign Jason Peters, who is a free agent. Now, let me be very, very clear. I love Jason Peters. He's a Hall of Fame left tackle. He's the bodyguard. I mean, he is as big of a leader on this team as possible, but he's 38 years old. And he's been injured. I mean, he is injured every single year. He has not played 16 games in a full season. I think in his entire career, at least in his career in Philadelphia, he's always had injuries. I love Jason Peters. Jason Peters is a hallmark staple of the Eagles offensive line and the Eagles organization, but you can't re-sign him. You just cannot re-sign him because the consistency's not there, the age is too high, and you have a guy named Andre Dillard who you spent a first-round draft pick last year who needs to be starting at left tackle because he's going to be an anchor at left tackle for many, many years to come. Here's what I would do with Jason Peters. I'd hire him as a coach, an assistant O-line coach, an assistant to the offensive coordinator, whatever you want. He needs to be in the building like they did with Sproles and sell it, get them in the building to help out the team, be a leader from a coaching position. But to re-sign him for another year or 2 to keep playing left tackle at the level that he's playing at right now, I just do not see it as a very smart move. It's not like he's garbage. He's not a trash left tackle at all. He's a really good left tackle, but at the same time, he can't stay healthy. He plays like 7 to 10 games a year, and he's 38 years old, so he's only going to continue to get worse and worse. I don't want this patchwork. Andre Dillard comes in for one game and then doesn't get to come in. Dillard needs to have a full offseason as the starter at left tackle. He needs to have a full preseason as a starter at left tackle, and he also needs to start every single game to get some consistency going, because offensive line, just like every other position in the National Football League, it's very hard to just roll right in and be dominant. I understand the concern, the worry. You go from literally, like we said, a Hall of Fame left tackle to a second-year, basically rookie left tackle because he didn't play a lot last year. I get there'll be a learning curve, there'll be a growing experience, but you drafted him in the first round for a reason. You need to start playing him right now. I do not want to see any comments down below saying, Thomas, you are so dumb. How can you hate Jason Peters? I don't hate Jason Peters. Jason Peters is one of the best players on our football team, but he can't stay healthy enough to do that for 16-plus games into the postseason. He says he wants to come back and play. I would understand if they re-signed him, but I would argue right now, you cannot re-sign Jason Peters. Bring him in as a coach. Bring him in as a staff member. Don't re-sign him. Let's get Andre Dillard on the field, because if Andre Dillard's on the field, you can start to give him the reps and the growth that he needs to have as a left tackle. And that way, besides Jason Kelce, you're very young on the offensive line. Brooks is still young. Johnson is still young. Samalu is still young. And then you have Andre Dillard at left tackle. So my hope is they do not re-sign Jason Peters, just for the simple reason of Dillard needs to play. Peters gets injured, and he's also way too old, in my opinion, for a left tackle. Don't leave me any nasty comments down below. You know in your heart of heart we all love the bodyguard, but we also understand what's going on in Philadelphia. They have got to get a little younger, not just everywhere, but on the offensive line in particular. Before we move on, if you guys subscribe to the Eagles Report yet, we're almost at 5,000 total subscribers. Go down below right now. Okay, just pause the video. Go down below. Click the red subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it if you guys would subscribe to the channel. If we get to 5,000 in a couple of months, that's crazy. Great growth here, and I appreciate each and every one of you guys here on the Eagles Report. Final thing, on 3 things the Eagles must not do this offseason, they must not re-sign Darby or Mills. They must not do it. They, much like wide receiver, you got to bring in fresh faces. Darby and Mills are both unrestricted free agents. There's a lot of talk about, oh, you could bring in one. You could re-sign one for cheap and then just bring in a free agent one as well and kind of go one for one. No, get rid of them both. We want 2 new starting cornerbacks for the Philadelphia Eagles on the outside, because like with just like Nelson Agholor, they've shown what their true colors are. Do they have spurts of being good? Yeah, Darby was pretty good in the Super Bowl year, and so was Jalen Mills. But can they be consistently good? Can they consistently not get beat on double moves or burned for deep balls by Stephon Diggs? They have got to get better on the outside, and you do that by not re-signing Darby and Mills. You do that by going out to free agency and picking up some fresh cornerbacks. Listen, there's some good cornerbacks in free agency. We talked about them. Byron Jones, Chris Harris Jr. You can talk about, who is the other one? I'm blanking on right now. Byron Jones, Chris Harris Jr. There's another one in free agency that you should definitely go out and get, and I'm going to remember it after the video. Comment down below which free agent cornerback they should go ahead and get, because obviously you could trade for Darius Slay. That's another one right there. You can go and get some new guys who have a lot more experience. Chris Harris Jr. is a perfect example of that, who can come in and start making instant impact on the team and hopefully be better than what Darby and Mills are. And plus, if you only get one, you still have Avonte Maddox and Crayvon LeBlanc and Sidney Jones and Rasul Douglas, who could fill in on the other side and have shown little bits of spurts of being good here and there. I understand that we like the Green Goblin. I actually been a big fan of Jalen Mills throughout his entire career, but time and time again, especially rewatching the Amazon All or Nothing Prime series, it was like, man, they're getting beat a lot. Like, I appreciate his mindset. He's a Philadelphia guy, drafted by us late at LSU, but I think you got to go out and get some new cornerbacks overall. Again, trading for Darius Slay, that was a rumor that happened just a couple of days ago in terms of, we were able to do that for, it feels like years. Every single trade deadline, it's will they trade for Detroit's Darius Slay. But Byron Jones is there. Chris Harris Jr. is there. There's a bunch of ones in the draft as well. I would go ahead and get 2 new cornerbacks instead of re-signing Darby or Mills. What do you guys think here? Listen, there's a lot of moves the Eagles should not make. There's a lot of moves the Eagles should make. Let me know in the comment section down below some moves you would like the Eagles to go ahead and make. And what do you guys think of my list? I would not re-sign Nelson Agholor. I think you got to let that just go. I don't care how cheap he would be. I would not re-sign Jason Peters, even though I love him. Too old. We got to see what Andre Dillard can do, get some consistency at left tackle, and finally, you got to basically remake the cornerback spot. I mean, you got to remake it by not re-signing Darby or Mills. You have Maddox and Jones and Douglas. They're all cheaper. They're all under contract. Go out and get a Byron Jones. Go out and get a Chris Harris Jr. Maybe draft one in the 2nd or 3rd round, and let's get some new faces at the backside of this defense. That way they can play better, hopefully, throughout the course of the year. Consistency, you'll see, is a theme of this video. Nelly has his games, but consistency is a real problem. Jason Peters, an elite left tackle, but cannot consistently be healthy on the field. Darby and Mills, both during the Super Bowl year, had their moments. This year, they had their games where you're like, oh, they're actually pretty good. Nice tackle there, Jalen Mills. And then they can't be consistent, and they have those games where they get beat and burnt, and it's just ridiculous overall. We need a fresh outlook on free agency, some fresh faces on the defense and offensive side. I think these are the 3 moves the Eagles cannot make going into the 2020 season because we got to see them improve, get 10, 11, 12, 13 wins, get back to where you were a couple of years ago whenever you won the Super Bowl. Remember, mailbag video later this week. Hashtag Eagles down below. Get your comments in. Ask me any question regarding the Eagles, and I will answer it in a video later on this week. And always thumbs up and subscribe because we're the fastest growing and best Eagles channel here on YouTube. I appreciate it. I'm telling you, each and every one of you guys. You guys are great. You guys have really helped me build this channel, and I hope to grow it into exactly what you guys are looking for, the best and only Eagles coverage here on YouTube in terms of news, rumors, and actual offseason moves. We're going to do it all here 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. For the Eagles Report, I'm Thomas Mott, signing off. Enjoy the rest of your day. Did you like that video? Thanks for watching, but why don't you click this video right here, because we did it just a couple of days ago, and guess what? It's about the Eagles too. Like that video? Why don't you subscribe right down here? That way you're notified whenever we release more videos here on the Eagles Report. It's the fastest growing Eagles channel here on YouTube. Video, subscribe, click them.